So, busy getting some parts out to work about getting this black car finished up. We did install the engine, and we went over the transmission and had it installed. I assumed that the other shift selector had an extender on it, but I just didn't like how it was, so I pulled everything apart. I sealed what I thought needed sealed, put a nice shifter selector plate on it, and the transmission was wanting to have like a pop out or a grind on a downshift. So we are right now at the point of pretty much hanging the chains, getting the engine hoist set up because I drop them out through the bottom, getting the jack and supporting the engine. We got a little bit of cleanup we got to do because we ended up doing some stuff yesterday, which I'll show you here in a second. So we're going to pull this trans out. The throttle cable needed replaced, so we have that here. I already had swapped out, I started pulling some of the stuff apart on the interior. I installed a nicer looking center console. I'm going to go over a couple other things. I pulled the seat out so that I could get down in there. Now, my first try at this, and I'm going to be making a video on that one over there. I did pull that one out. It did have a busted case. So what we're looking at right here now is this transmission. I got this with a parts car, man, a good 2 years ago, if not more. If you look here, you can see that the case is busted off. That's right where your slave cylinder goes to depress your clutch. Well, there's no way for that to stay in there because they actually hooked the chain here and pulled the motor and the trans at the same time and ended up breaking the transmission case. So I was told it was a good working trans, and the only way to find that out is I pulled everything apart, looked it over. Nothing looked bad. I mean, there's actually minimum wear on the forks here in comparison to a lot of different transmissions. So everything is sealed up, everything is assembled. I still got to put the clutch switch in, which I'm going to pull out of that transmission along with the shift selector plate. I did pull the trans identification tag off of the old one, which was this one. You can barely read it. And this case, I think this case had a busted input shaft or something like that. I can't remember. But it was one of the two that I had sitting back there. I'm going to be grabbing the other one, and I'm going to be putting that one together and cleaning everything up also. So basically, I stripped this case for everything that could come off of it. I pressed out the input shaft bearing. I'm basically, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe this thing off a little bit because it's going to be sitting outside and I don't want to get any oils onto my ground. So I'm just going to give it a quick wipe, and it's going out on the aluminum trash pile. I don't know if there's a way to get those races out for the output shaft bearing, but it's nothing that we're going to worry about. You can tell there's like a little brass collar in here for the shifter. And some of these, I tried getting these out of here before, but it just kind of seems like it's too much of a bother. Most of the time, there's no issues with them ever anyway. So, I got a little bit of cleaning up here yet to do on this trans. Like I said, fork wear. Check that out. See, like I said, they're not too bad. You can come over here. You can see that's got wear, and even in here on this third. Over here. So I mean, that trans has a pop out. This one here I pulled out. I was thinking about trying this one. I was told it had a bad third. I don't know until I try it out. So it's just part of the scenario. To tear one apart, basically you're doing a rebuild. To throw it in, you're just throwing it in and you're testing it. That way you know if it's good or if it's bad. But this one came out, like I said, there's a video of the case before I remove this stuff. It's been sitting here for months. I just didn't get to this thing. If you look around, we did kind of get some cleaning taken care of. You can kind of walk around in here a little bit. You can kind of almost see this wall down through here. Finishing up some projects, getting some things taken care of, and getting stuff out of the way. So there's that. But anyway, we have a transmission to test. We're going to be installing. Like I said, we know this one's bad, so we're going to pull that one and put that one in and cross our fingers. I don't believe that there's anything wrong with it by the looks of the inside of the transmission. and you know, just basically all we gotta do is see if it works. It's just what you gotta do. So if it doesn't, I'll write on it just like I did this one. Third gear grind, pop out on downshift. I think it wanted to grind, but it was going in. So I know there's probably issues there with the synchronizer, and the blocking ring's probably worn out because you're getting that grind. So something's not working. So the material's probably bad, or some of the springs. Like I said, I'm not a transmission person. I just have minimal understanding of stuff. So I could be wrong. I could be right. Who knows? Transmission guy will know. All right, guys, we got the transmission removed. We did have an issue with this thing starting. It wanted to grind. It was impacting the flywheel. So I took the time to change that out. I've re-Loctited everything. I'm not quite sure why, but I don't know if it's just an unlevel floor here, but something just wasn't right. Nothing's jumping out at me right away. Let's see here. Which side was it? You can see there's some shininess on here. I don't know if that was actually hitting the starter, or if that's where the only place the starter was engaging. I never seen one do that. So it's all something new to me. There's the starter that came off. Had a little bit of wear here, and you can see something was like. And then this is another one that we had. We went back and pulled off the pile just to do a comparison. So for some reason, something was different right there. I'm not quite sure what. Exact same starters. So something just was not right. All right. But anyway, this is our transmission. I swapped over the shift selector plate. Everything is good to go. This transmission is totally sealed. We have the clutch fork installed. The throwout bearings installed. We lubed everything in here again. I have some grease in both of the seals. So we're ready to go. So nothing's just started up dry. We switched over the sensor. We labeled our junk. And here's the transmission we pulled out. This is the original selector. I just kind of threw it on top. And I threw a broken speedo sensor in the trans to kind of keep anything out. I'm going to throw a rag down in this hole, and this thing's going to go out on my core pile, parts pile. So it's going to be one of my known tested transmissions that I know has an issue. So, and that's going on the junk pile, just because I'm not questioning it. I'm going to replace everything: the starter, the flywheel, the bolts. We're not doing this again if we don't have to, because we want to do it right the first time. So, but anyway, we're still testing the trans. So we still have kind of a gamble there. Let's get this thing shoved underneath here. I'm going to load the clutch up into this on the front of the trans. Then we'll lift the trans up, get it lined up, which works out usually pretty easy. I did come across, I got some of these alignment dowels right here. So, you know, I'll probably stick one of them in the one bolt hole, and then I'll get the other one started. I'll get everything fitted together the way that it needs to be before I tighten everything down. And, you know, I'll get the top two on, and I'll double check and make sure that the stuff feels all right when I'm installing this, so I can get the bolts installed here on the clutch. Typically, like I said, I usually rotate that around. You can see we have 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock at the bottom. I kind of cross it out, okay? And then I'll rotate the back of the clutch to match that, so that I'm starting close, because that will only bolt on one way. That's just how they're made. Same with the flywheel, will only bolt onto the crank one way. So let's get this trans hooked up, get some chains on it, get it underneath the car, lift this thing into place. This is actually the worst part of installing the transmission. Man, is it steamy. Well, it's almost 80 in here, but I got the door shut, so it usually stays cool in the morning. Windows hanging open, or not hanging open. I got the AC, didn't fire that stuff up yet. We're not like soaking in here. But we have the transmission installed. The cables are on, the starter is in, the axles are in. We're busy getting some of this stuff tightened up. We got to put the fluid in the trans, get everything together yet, and then I'll probably put this heat shield on. Got to put the intake on, and the throttle cable, we got to get that on. And then we're going to be at the point where we can test this transmission out, and we're going to cross our fingers. All right, so this car also had some gauges. I'm going to be removing this wiring. It was just a poor install. They actually had the wire crimp connected here, and when I went to pull them out, the crimp connector just slid right off. So it was a poor connection. Power and whatever needed to be powered. I'm not sure what lead is off of this fuse here. I think it might be, it's the second one. Yeah, the first one's here, airbag. So it was one of these. So we just took the time to solder everything and then shrink tube it. I had to add some extra length. I did make it a little long, but that's fine. It can go back in here. We can get this stuck back in where it's supposed to be, and it's not going to hurt nothing. We got some cleaning up the interior yet to do. Like I said, I swapped out the center console. I got to dig out a door panel that's nice. I'm busy trying to clean off whatever, I don't know, Velcro stuff they had going on here. And then I got to get a nice cover here for this pillar, because the one that was in there was quite well made. Not exactly appeasing to the eye. The interior is actually pretty nice. I mean, the armrest is nice. The seats are nice. Other than needing a serious cleanup, the car is actually pretty decent on the interior side. I think just a small wear mark in the floor mat. It was missing rears, so I dug those out. I'm going to do a vacuum job. I'll probably wipe down the interior, like I said, along with swapping out these door panels yet, which I'll be digging out soon. Just getting everything together. Got to finish putting the axle stuff together. We got the trans fluid in. I got to get, since I'm working on the inside stuff, I'm going to get the new throttle cable installed. Double check everything out here. I still have to dig out a rack boot, because they had that melted down there. So we'll be replacing that. What else? I mean, I know there's plenty. I'll probably, you know, take care of some of the other stuff I see. I got fog lights to install. All right, I'm kind of feeling like this is a little bit of a run-on video. I kind of started this the other week, and I just never had time to get back to finish getting this thing put together. But we did get the transmission in. The vacuum lines are hooked up. Everything right now is bolted back together. We even took the time to replace the burnt rack boot that was melted from the wastegate that was put on the car incorrectly before. Everything is where it needs to be. We got our fog lights are in. We're just doing some finishing touches right now. I got to do a couple things. I got to get the seat in. I fixed the wiring in the dash. I got to put a couple screws in here, get everything together, just do a double check. I actually am probably going to pull this door panel off and chuck it. I did do the center console also, and then just, you know, maybe blow this thing out real quick. But we are almost to the point of taking this thing for its maiden voyage, since it is completely reassembled. Hey, we even took the time, we replaced this one that was broken, we replaced this clip. We have a working washer bottle assembly. Like I said, this motor came up to temp a couple times already, so it's good to go. No oil drips on the floor, so we must have resealed something right, including the transmission. So this is the best I had right now for air intake and a filter, so we just kind of threw that on. You know, I end up selling them things, or people need them, and I pass on what I have that's nice, and then when I need it, I don't have it. So it's one of those things. I do know that the person that's getting this, I think they're going to do something different. They're going to change out the blow-off valve. I think they have a wastegate they're going to be putting on it. I think they're changing it out, put a big front mount on, even though this just looks good. The fact that it's all stock. This bumper is on here the way that it should be. Everything is there. All the bolts are in, even the little plastic on the bottom, which will help give it some good lines across where the hood meets. They did, like I said, you know, they're going to be changing a couple things, so I'm pretty much just getting that to that point. Right now, I'm getting ready to install the wheels. Like I said, I showed you, I got a couple things here I got to take care of inside the car, along with getting the seat together yet and getting all the screws in the correct location. Basically, we just got to do a once over, double check everything, take this thing for a test drive. I'll let you guys hear what it sounds like really soon. Radio works. I put a CD in. It's kind of nice not having a sunroof. You know, other than needing a little bit of cleanup, I got to put this pillar on. Got some busted clips. We're fixing that up. And you know, being a little dirty, this car actually came out pretty nice. We'll go for a run here. I'm gonna bring it up to temp. Just give it a good once over, run it through the gears while it's up on that jack stand, check everything out, and then I'll drop it down, and then we'll probably take this thing for a ride, and I'll make it a separate video and testing this thing out, seeing how nice it is to drive, how solid, how nice and tight. Everything looked really good on it. The brakes were nice, the tires are nice, the whole suspension looked pretty good. You know, overall, a really nice car. Other than needing some cleanup and a little bit of paint work, just because of your normal fade, really nice, really nice. So man, is that thing crack. I want it to read right. If you, how can I say it? Like right now, if you run the manual boost controller off of that stock wastegate, I think the stock wastegate is pretty much like an 8-pound wastegate. Stage 2 should be 12. Then you buy the aftermarket ones, which are going to be a higher pressures. Long day. So hopefully I didn't run on too long. This looks like it's going to be 12 minutes. I'm probably going to cut some stuff out. And I'm trying to do this in a one take because I got a lot of stuff to do, and hopefully it edits out and it becomes something worth watching and you can learn from it. So with that being said, boost on, guys.